regarding the Deputy Chief Minister, Manish Sisodia. We are receiving reports that the CBI has sought approval of the LG to register a case against the Deputy Chief Minister who headed the Vigilance Department. The LG has right now referred the request to the President through the MHA. Now, we'll go very quickly to the allegations that are coming in. Let's go very quickly to my colleague Pallavi to understand more. Pallavi, can you bring our audiences details on what grounds is the CBI looking to do this?
So, the main crux of it is, what is the main allegation against the Delhi government? And the allegation is that this one was a feedback unit which was hurriedly set up. It actually has to go through a procedure where you float a cabinet note, then you table it, and then you go in for that cabinet approval. According to these allegations for the Vigilance Department, all of these norms were circumvented. But the biggest allegation is that essentially this feedback unit which was set up, which only led to a huge loss as far as the exchequer is concerned, was done only to snoop in on the political opponents of the AAP, which is both the BJP as well as the Congress. It also tried to intrude into central government ministries, agencies, judiciary as well. Now, Toya, these are very, very grave allegations coming in on the Delhi government, on the Chief Minister who, according to the Vigilance Department, was very much in the know, and he was in fact a part of this entire proceedings. And of course on Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. The now heat mounts more and more on the Delhi government. It's going to become very, very difficult perhaps now for them. So they will have to explain to it that was this really the purpose why this feedback unit was set up.
Okay, what was the timeline of when this feedback unit was set up, Pallavi, and have we had any responses from the Aam Aadmi Party?
Well, no responses yet has come in from Delhi government, but we do expect that, once the BJP starts mounting pressure, they are, of course, going to be making the point that this is yet another instance how the LG's office, how the central agencies are trying to arm twist the political parties. And, we've been seeing the kind of war of words which is taking place between the BJP and AAP. What according to the Vigilance Department's findings is that this is something which has been going on consistently over the last couple of months up to a year. And it is a very systemic and systemized and very well thought out plan in which every rule was bent, the proper protocol was not followed, and the only purpose for setting up the feedback unit was actually to snoop in on the political opponents and also make an intrusion into central government ministries to serve their purpose.
Okay, Pallavi, I just want to understand from you, usually do political parties have units within them that do quote-unquote snoop on their political opponents? Is the transgression here that this was done using government funding, or is the basis itself unusual?
See, officially, no. Officially, there's a difference between what a Vigilance Department does and what snooping is all about. Snooping, by its very name, it seems to be suggesting, is when you try to intrude into a privacy of political parties or entities or so on and so forth. Vigilance is where you just are vigilant, where you keep track of the movements, of the developments, or if you feel there is any irregular, suspicious activity which is violated the norms. But that's a very grey area that can always be misused and tweaked to serve one's own political purposes. And that is the allegation against them, that under the garb of being vigilant and marking vigilance, this feedback unit, which was not required, no proper protocol was followed, was set up. And as evidence shows, according to Vigilance Department, the only purpose of the feedback unit was to kind of intrude into the privacy of political parties like the BJP and the Congress and central government ministries and even the judiciary.
Okay, and I just want to understand, Pallavi, since the CBI is looking for approval with the LG, one can expect the CBI does have evidence with them. But I do want to understand, has the media been able to access any of what the CBI is possibly using as evidence?
So, I mean, what information has been given to us by way of our sources, by the Vigilance Department, by the LG's office, does seem to suggest that they do have very, very strong evidence. Otherwise, these kind of grave allegations would not be made. See, now the whole procedure is that investigations will take place. Of course, the Delhi government, the Chief Minister will be given a chance to explain. But as far as our sources are telling us, both in the Vigilance Department and the LG's office, it's watertight information we have, and it's going to be very, very difficult to find an escape route and find excuses.
Okay, all right. Pallavi, if I could request that you stay with us. BJP's RP Singh is with us on the phone right now. Sir, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18. Sir, the CBI reportedly is seeking approval from the LG to register a case against the Deputy Chief Minister. How is the BJP responding?
Well, investigation is already on, and then The CBI was trying to probably find out the proofs, and then they would have got the proof now, and that's why they want to go into further investigation now, and they're asking LG to give permission for the same, because Vijayan, the key man who was operating on behalf of Sisodia and Kejriwal, is in custody and would have shared a lot of things. So I think it's further to what Vijayan would have disclosed.
Okay. Sir, obviously we can't, with our audiences, share the evidence that the CBI is possibly using in this case. We do know, however, that the CBI believes they've got enough evidence. I do want to understand from you, though, sir, what we've heard the Aam Aadmi Party say time and time again over the last few months is that the CBI and the ED, both central agencies, and this is actually a claim all opposition parties across the country have made, are being misused by the central government. Don't you think, sir, that that is exactly what the Aam Aadmi Party is going to say this time too?
I have only one thing to say on this. Vijayan as the key kingpin and between the liquor barons and the government and the functionary of the Aam Aadmi Party was and the minister has vacated his personal bungalow, and then he was taking minister's bungalow. Why would one be given an elected minister bungalow and get after asking minister to vacate a bungalow? It clearly shows that it's been happening. And now things have been probably are in place, the big is in place. That's why CBI would have asked for the LG's permission to further the matter. And then since
I'm saying, unfortunately, the connection isn't the clearest with you. I'm not being able to hear the entire part of what you have to say until we're able to re-establish a stronger connection. Let me just bring our audiences some details about the kind of allegations we've seen in the last few months against the Deputy Chief Minister and how the Deputy Chief Minister has refuted each of these allegations. You'll remember that over the last few months, when it comes to both the ED and the CBI, we have seen investigations take place against the Deputy Chief Minister. He alleged that his house and his office were also investigated. He, however, has continued to maintain that this is a misuse of central agencies by the government. Now, we're going to continue to await as we have political leaders and reporters join us on this story to bring us a lot more in terms of context on these freshest charges that have just come in. Remember, the Deputy Chief Minister is in charge of a few different departments, one of which is the Excise Department. You remember the Aam Aadmi Party's liquor policy had been at the centre of much controversy last year. Let's go very quickly to my colleague Pallavi. Pallavi, if you could offer us a quick recap, not just of the liquor excise policy and the controversy around it, but of all such controversies that the central government, the BJP, has at least alleged that Manish Sisodia is embroiled in.
You know, if I want to talk about it politically speaking, Toya, and we're looking at the bigger battle of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, it's very clear that AAP versus BJP fight is going to become one of the most aggressive and potent fights. We saw that happening in the midst of Gujarat. This is that the BJP is making the point against the Aam Aadmi Party. For a all political party which began by cleaning up the system, today it itself needs to be cleaned up. There's deep stories of corruption. And as you pointed out, the present feedback.
Okay, we seem to have lost our connection with my colleague Pallavi too. Let's move on very quickly.